最初は本当趣味みたいな感じで過去を振り返るのとか好きなん
Yeah, come on. Just admit that you're addicted to that there cloud kitty. We opened this week with Berry Blossom narrating and introducing her true identity as Kaju no Ichigo, which is a very forced pun for a strawberry on a tree, because I guess like a certain moon bunny, her parents knew exactly what she was going to become. And with said career path, she of course had to accept all offers from evildoers, including the Kumakaijin, who were just handing out letters of intent from their boss, which basically amounted to him just saying he was going to hog the swings at the park. Ha! Joke's on you, dude. That place is already occupied. Yeah, we have some problems with our state. Or it would have been had it not been hurricane season, which, yeah, the show is surprisingly timely. Thus, Chroma just decided to call it quits and play board games inside instead. However, Chizuko was still worried, so she decided to check if Berry Blossom had showed up, and sure enough she did. She of course was determined to protect the park for the children, ignoring that kids would be out during a freaking storm. Okay, who forgot to put their waifu away? Was it you, Frank? Of course, Chizuko tried to help her while stealing a whiff because these purple-haired magical girl stands don't know the first thing about personal space. Thus, she brought her home with her after also hiding her evil villain away. In the process, she was also introduced to Kaju's fairy partner, Mashiro, not to be confused with Sora's waifu, as that extra U makes it a male kitty, who Chizuko also couldn't recognize as the cat she sat on back in episode 1 because reasons. Anyway, the two tried to nurse the magical girl back to health. Of course, having her idol in her home had switched Chizuko's stand mode into full drive, but Mashiro managed to keep her at bay, as well as handing out this rather shoddy looking business card. Like, seriously dude, you could at least order them from FedEx for a more decent job. Sorry Morgana, but you'll always be arguably the worst party member in Persona 5. However, while Mashiro would never make an effective Phantom Thief, he did at least have a talent for filming viral videos of his partner. And yet, even decently filmed footage is never enough for most magical girls who probably want that stuff in 4K, if not 8K. As a result, he did kind of offer to let her be their producer, but then they were interrupted by Chroma, who decided to have some fun with their guests. He managed to swipe Mashiro's business card from Chizuko, and was going to use it to commit the most evil of acts. Just another day on Twitter, really. With that, he retrieved with Kaju, ending the first half of the episode with the reveal that Chroma was actually just going to add them to their contacts list so that they could provide weather reports and event cancellations, which is more than what my previous workplace did, so good on them. Oh, and also this. Hey, Chizuko, Majia Base called, and she says that you're not doing enough. I need to find better company. The next day, Chroma and Chizuko discuss what their next act of evil could be. Not PC enough for you, dude? However, he did consider it, especially when Mashiro came back to their home to thank them for helping them. From there, he just had to play to Chizuko's desires for a good magical girl battle to get her to cooperate. With that, they captured the cat with some jump rope and tried to call Kaju using the number on Mashiro's card, which of course just connected to his smartphone. However, with that phone, they could call the magical girl through his contacts list, and said magical girl was busy making breakfast. Neither. The answer is always coffee. I need to buy some more. They managed to connect, so Chroma tried his best to do a whole hostage call and failed miserably. Yeah, again, one of the most endearing aspects of this show is seeing the villains fail miserably at being bad. In this case, he not only failed by letting his voice crack and biting his tongue, he also ended up mispronouncing Chizuko's surname. Dante と言ったか? Though to be fair, that's kind of appropriate considering that guy enjoys his strawberry sundaes. Real chat right here. Also, yeah, I guess it does make for a convenient alter ego that'll prevent Kaju from learning her true identity. Granted, Masho now knows her face, but like how she can't connect him back to the cat from the first episode, he seemed like he couldn't recognize her as the girl who sat on him. Plus, he is going to have a reason for withholding this information in just a sec, as Chizuko tried to take up the hostage call. And of course, her magical girl fangirling got the better of her, and she ended up speaking very formally and made it sound more like they found a lost kid. Well, you're still doing more than most modern Precure villains, so you can take that as a minor victory, kind of, sort of, not really. Realizing that things weren't working out, Chizuko's grandpa decided to release Masho, who probably realized that these two idiots weren't major threats, and even seemed to feel a little bit of pity for them. Thus, I guess he was going to withhold on fully revealing Chizuko, and maybe even let them grow into becoming better villains, because again, a magical girl always needs some sort of good rogues gallery. And with that, the episode ended with a little after credits section, in the form of, hilariously enough, a documentary where they interviewed Masho about the daily ins and outs of Kaju's magical girl activities, which included preventing evildoers from cutting in line. Hey, don't make fun when the final boss of Doki Doki totally would have done the same thing. And it also acted as a good means of fleshing out Masho, with him admitting that he wanted to directly fight evil alongside his partner, but could also be easily held down by some jump rope. Thus, he was actually doing the most practical thing by filming Kaju and upping her publicity to the point that they could strike up marketing deals for merchandise like in the first episode. It raised both Kaju and her fans' morality by giving them a connection, and also earned Kaju a little extra cash for living expenses, like overly fancy teas and the like. However, there was a greater challenge that could lead to the true downfall of many magical girls and even common writers.
低視聴率裏番組が強すぎるがゆえ
Oh, how I wait the day. Anyway, this is a pretty good little outing to introduce the magical girl's mascot. Yeah, on paper, that might not sound like much, but when done right, they can be some of the most interesting characters of the show. In this case, it does work in the sense that Masho does work as a very effective straight man to the nonsense of Chroma and now Dante. When you get down to it, mascot characters have become a little played out in recent years beyond even the original overly cutesy plushie stereotype. Either they're pure evil little monsters or cynical little smartasses. Masho definitely leans more into that latter, but he also does clearly care for his partner, which is more than a little endearing. He not only tries to convince Kaju to take better care of herself, especially when she makes some very short-sighted choices, but also acts as her PR manager, both to improve her public image and likely make a little money through sponsorships. It's a wholesome relationship that also acts as a fun foil to the villains, as, while not entirely toxic, Chroma is kind of a leech at the Date household. And when the two sides end up quote-unquote clashing, it leads to some other fun interactions, like Chizuko almost going full Utena by being both a creepy fan and also slowly developing into a proper villain. I mean, she is already ahead of this guy, even though that's not saying much. But yeah, these were some pretty funny and cute little interactions. And while this was not as laugh-out hilarious as the first two episodes, this one did at least act as an effective introduction to now my favorite magical girl mascot of this year with Daddy Mashiro. Between him and Yuki, cats are really getting some good representation this year, aren't they? Thank you for watching, and if you haven't seen it yet, maybe check out our latest long-form Precure video with the top 10 Precure villains. We made it to celebrate the month of Halloween, though while we do want to make more, I'm not sure if we'll have the time, as we should get back to working on the next part of the Max Heart review before it takes another year. Still, we will probably make some sort of follow-up video to that list in the near future. So, do look forward to it. Until then though, for now my friends, and if you excuse me, I'm gonna see if I could get a coffee sponsorship.